This is Thursday, May 24th. I was going to babble off camera, but I figured, why not? We'll just babble in front of the camera for you guys. Because the only people who are really going to watch this are probably you guys, because some of you guys will come back and watch this one again because you guys are weird. And that only goes off of kids telling me that in the past. But I tried to do today's speech specifically for each class. Because each of my classes are boring stuff, boring stuff, boring stuff. We'll put that up there for now. Because each of my classes are different. It's one of the joys of being a teacher is that a class takes on a personality, which is a lot of fun as a teacher. That it's pretty made up of all the different little bits of personalities that come together, and then you guys form like an overall class period personality, which is a joy for me. So I try to aim my talk today at this class's personality, because there are certain things I will talk about that will hit you guys differently that would not have as much importance to, say, my third period class or my sixth period class or the first period class, because you guys have different issues than they do. And so you have also different strong points. And so my goal is to try and help you understand your strong points and issues. And so I try to fine-tune it to that, which is a lot of work and exhausting, but at the same time, hopefully beneficial in the end. So part of it is me figuring out, and this will be how, as I give my talk, watching your reactions to figure out which things I'm saying are taking weight, and that helps me guide what direction we're going. Because sometimes I don't know how to take things until I go down that path, which probably just sounds really confusing now. Alright, so my whole year that I've done is basically building up to this day. Didn't used to be this way until I started using this day for what I do, which is the talk I'm going to be giving here in a moment. And I've started slowly shifted my whole teaching style to build up to this day in one way or another. Everything I do, whether it be the fact of making you guys stand, whether I have my slow kids section, whether it's the fact that I lie or creatively manipulate facts for educational purposes.
Straight up lie.
Quick timeout on that. Here's the difference. Here's how I view the difference. Maybe I should put it that way. Ouch, I'm right here. Lying is when you're trying to get out of trouble, is how I see it. It's when I go and I confront my daughter and I'm like, hey, did you clean your room? And she goes, yes. And I open the door and there's crap everywhere. And I go, no, you didn't. And she was like, I didn't think you'd check. That's a lie. I don't ever lie to you to get out of trouble. I lie to you for a very specific purpose. One is, depending on the stories, it helps make school's boring. And so a lot of times helping you buy into a belief system makes things less boring. It's the same reason parents will creatively manipulate facts for educational purposes for children and say that there is a large, fat, white, bearded snow elf that comes to your house once a year. And so because that particular creative manipulation of facts helps you buy into things, thus making life more fun. So I do the same thing. If you were to confront me, or if like Mrs. Thorpe or Mr. Butts were to come in and be like, did you do this? I'd be like, nope, definitely didn't do that thing. I'm not going to lie. I'll be like, yeah, I did that thing because I had a purpose behind it. It's the same thing I tell your parents. A number of times this year, your parents have contacted me and been like, this particular thing, is it true? And I'm like, here's the information for parents. I don't have to try and creatively manipulate facts for them. They're adults. I don't have to worry about them being bored at school. But you guys, I want you to enjoy school. And part of enjoying school is buying into what happens. So that's why I lie. And the other part of it is, beyond that, is that adults lie. I mentioned this a little bit with Princess Bride, but it becomes even more important now, especially in the last couple of years, where lies get passed as facts in the news. And the fact that I want you guys to learn to challenge adults, because adults need to be challenged. Authority figures need to be challenged. As soon as we have young people who blindly accept everything adults say, we're going to be in a scary place. So it's my job to help train you to do that. Now here's the issue. I could just go, hey, challenge adults, sometimes they lie. But as soon as the words come out of my mouth, you're going to turn into pure teenager mode and go, blah, 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 adult, I've already stopped listening to you. So instead, I help teach you that adults lie by having you go along this path with me. And at the end, I grab the rug and go, whoo, and you go, blah, and you hit the ground, and you go, ow, that hurt me emotionally, but that pain is learning. So that hopefully when you get further in life, it's better than me just saying it. You've now experienced it and learned it. Plus, other humans are going to lie to you. That's what humans do. And so being able to sniff that out and being able to survive that makes you a stronger person. Now, other lies I do are slightly different, like when you guys are lazy and you ask me if we have homework and then I lie to you. That's because you're lazy and I'm making you a better person, because you can't go through life being lazy. If you go through life being lazy, you're not going to lead a very happy life. So you need someone to help you become not lazy. And so the way I help you not be lazy is by just lying to you, and eventually you get to the point you're like, it's just easier if I do it myself. Duh. That's what I'm trying to get you to learn. I could tell you it's easier if you do it yourself, but again, I've learned that teenagers go, blah, 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 old person, whatever. So instead, I help you learn that. There's a reason why I do everything I do in my room, including that. It all goes towards making you a better person. Here's part of the problem. As a teacher, I like you guys. I care about you guys. And I know I put on the front of my little shriveled acorn of a heart. But here's the other issue. Y'all ain't stupid. I've learned the fact that you're not stupid. Because kids see through adults more than adults think. And I can say as much as I want, but you guys judge people by their actions. And I'll tell you that I hate kids, but you'll see in everything that I do that I don't. But that's part of the joy of my room. That's part of the joy of buying into how school works, is that I create this mythology of my room that makes it that much more fun. Because I remember being in a boring schoolroom, and I never wanted that for my room. So, that's why I do. See, I've already lost my train of thought there. Curse it. So glad you sit in the front row right there. Oh, so taunting. I'm going to miss you. Oh yeah, back to that's why me talking about loving kids. It's hard for me to talk about. See, that's a lie again. Part of the issue is me, the fact that I actually enjoy you guys. And part of the fact of me enjoying you is that I want you to become better people. And that I want you to get on the correct path in life. And I want to try and do what I can to make your later life as good as possible. So to do that, in order to make you a better later human, I sometimes have to torture you in the here and now. And some of you sometimes make poor choices because you're human and you're teenagers and you're 7th graders, and that's sort of where poor choices come in. And so that's why when you don't do homework, I make you stand, because making you stand inflicts pain upon you. Now, it's not stabbing you pain, but it's uncomfortable pain. It's an annoyance pain, because when you don't get to sit down and I force you to stand, it's either the pain of not being able to sit. For some of you, it's the pain of having everyone stare at you. For some of you, it's just the pain of having me have to be mean to you. Whatever, it's some kind of pain. Because people are naturally lazy. Humans are naturally lazy. It's how we work until something causes us to not be lazy. It requires some level of uncomfortableness to be inflicted upon us to change. For most of us, it's our parents. And it's your parents' job to make you uncomfortable. When you don't turn in homework, they yell at you, they ground you, they do something like that. You sneak out of the house, or you download an app you're not supposed to. It's their job to punish you because they do something to make you uncomfortable. Whether it be the fact that they yell at you, they ground you, they take something away, something to make you unhappy. And the idea being is you don't want that unhappiness again, so you don't make that same poor choice. If no one inflicts pain or unhappiness on you, what is to teach you not to make those poor choices? So as a teacher, if I want you to make the choice of turning in homework, I find a way to inflict pain on you because I want you to pass my class. It's much easier as a teacher to not make kids stand. Think about it. How many teachers do you have that do that? Not many of them. Because it's exhausting as a teacher. Because I have to spend time every class period checking to see who has homework to make sure you turn it in. I'm doing that because I care about you and I want to make you a better person. It's the same reason why I have a slow kid area. Luckily for you guys, we didn't have to use it much. In my other classes, it's full and overflowing. Different classes, different speeches. They get different speeches. But for you guys, trust me, it's the idea that there's a reason because I have to inflict pain upon you in some form or another. Now, here's part of the issue for you guys. You're in my advanced class. You're smart. Many of you are incredibly responsible because you do what you're supposed to. You're driven. You're trying to do well. You have the people who punish you when they're supposed to. You're going to be surrounded by other humans who are not like that. You're going to have kids in your other classes who are not like that. There are going to be humans around you for the rest of your life who are not like that. There's a reason why they're like that. Not every kid has parents who push them. Not every kid has parents who make them do what they're supposed to. Not every kid has parents who inflict that uncomfortableness. Some kids have parents who let them make poor choices. Some kids have parents who encourage them to make poor choices. That damages kids. That hurts you. Because as a kid, you need to have people control you. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's because in your developmental stage, you need to rebel. It's what teens need to do. You have to fight against things. It's how you develop as a person. The only way you become a fully formed person is by rebelling. It's why teens do what they do. It's natural and it's healthy. But you need adults to help give you boundaries. Because that's how you learn how to become a good person. You learn that I can do this until you hit a wall and then you stop. It's up to the adults to put walls around you. That's how you form your personality. That's how you form who you are. Here's the problem. There are kids around you who don't have parents who do that, who don't give them boundaries. And they're allowed to make whatever poor choices they want at home, at school, in life. And they're adults in their life. Don't tell them what they're doing is wrong. Don't tell them that they shouldn't turn in homework. Don't tell them that they're on the wrong path. So they keep doing those bad things. Those of you who have parents who punish you when you make your poor choices, in the moment, it's really easy to imagine how much you want to not have parents yelling at you, how much you don't want to have parents do these bad things to you, and how much you wish you lived in a house where those other kids got away with things. You don't want that at all. Because those kids who have that are not happy kids. There's a reason why those are the kids who bully other people. Those are the kids who are unhappy on the inside. Because when an adult punishes you, when an adult tells you that you're doing the wrong thing, when an adult grounds you, they do that because they love you. That's why I do what I do. Because I care about you. Because that's my way of saying, you're on the wrong path, and I want you doing the right thing. But imagine these kids who don't have that, who don't have a parent saying you're doing the wrong thing, and they keep on doing the bad thing, and no one keeps telling them, hey, you shouldn't do that. Those become unhappy people. There's a saying that says, I have it up here because it helps me out. Our child deserves our love the most when they deserve it the least. It took me a long time to learn that as a teacher. The idea that it's the kids in the class who misbehave the most, who are the biggest turds, who need me the most as a teacher. Because that's how it works for humans too. It's those kids who misbehave the most, who don't have an adult helping to correct them, who don't have an adult putting them on the right path. And all those kids irritate me too. They need me more than you guys do at times, because you do have parents who help put you on the right path. Those of you who have two parents at home, who you get to go home and talk to every day, who cook dinner for you, who have meals with you, who have conversations with you, who say the words, "I love you," to you, who tell you when you've done something wrong, you have a happy life. Even if you don't fully realize it, you have a fairly happy life. Here's what you have to realize. Not every kid is living the same life you are. There are kids in your classes, there are kids in this room who don't have that, who don't have two parents at home. They have one parent at home, or their parents are in the middle of going through a divorce, and their parents yell at each other, or their parents yell at them, or they only have one parent at home who they never see because it's a single parent, and they have to work non-stop, and this kid has to raise themselves. Or the parent they have at home is abusive, or drinks, or inflicts pain on them in some way. I have kids who home is not a happy place, who their only place to find any level of happiness is here at school, because everything else in their life is pain. School should not be your happy place. School should be your place where you get homework. But realize what that does to kids, where they have that much unhappiness in their life, where they have to come to school to find an adult that's nice to them, where the only adults they ever see smile at them are teachers, because they don't have that at home. And imagine what that does to a 13-year-old kid. It crushes you on the inside. It takes away your happiness. How do you expect a kid like that to behave in class? How do you expect a kid like that to be nice to other people when they never experience niceness? They never experience happiness or love. They lash out. They're mean to others. They bully other people. These are the kids that you hear the stories of that drink, that do drugs while they're in junior high, that are mean to other kids, who take pleasure in your tears. Why? Because that's all they know. So the reason I tell you this is I need you to learn what took me way too long to learn as a teacher. These are the people who need your love more than others. The nice kids at school, it's easy to be nice to them. It's the jerks at school who need you to be forgiving to them. Those are the kids who need you to be nice to them. They need you to forgive their actions, and they need you to be able to be that nice person for them. And they're not going to deserve it on any level. And they're not going to be nice to you when you're nice to them. They're going to fight it, and they're going to resist it, because they're not used to it, because they don't know how to be nice. And this is where you have to make a choice. Do you turn your back on them? Or do you keep going back and trying to be nice to them? And it's not an easy choice. Both of them suck. Because if you turn your back on them, that's on you. And that's on your soul. If you keep being nice to them, they're going to be mean to your face, because they don't know how to be nice. And you have to decide how strong you are. And it took me a long time to figure that out. And so I tell you that I put a lot of importance on today. It's because I think the lessons I teach today carry more weight than the rest of what I taught you this year. Learning grammar is good. Learning conflicts in internal and external is good. But you can Google that. At some point in your life, you're going to have a machine implanted in your head that's going to allow you to Google all that stuff. But you can't Google morals. You can't Google how to be a good person. This year, I spent earning your trust. It's why I did what I did. It's why I teach the way I do. So that no matter what I say, you saw my actions and you saw where my heart was, so that I can earn your respect. Because you don't respect every teacher. And you shouldn't respect every teacher. Because teachers are human. And you shouldn't respect every human. You earn respect. You should be nice to every person. You should be nice to every teacher. But respect is earned. It's not something that's just given to somebody because they're older. So I tried to earn your respect this year. And this past week, I tried to show you who I am as a person. Because I feel too many adults treat you as little kids. And too many adults try to put themselves above you. And try to say that we're up here and we're adults. And we don't make mistakes. Mistakes are things that kids make. And they put you down below them. And so I showed you this past week for a number of reasons. One of them is that you understand I make mistakes. Humans make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. You'll never be perfect. You'll never be perfect. Trust me, I'm the closest to perfection you'll ever find. And even I can't get there. That's a joke. I really am perfect. It's okay. Making mistakes is good. Making mistakes is human. You're supposed to make mistakes. As a teenager, you're really supposed to make mistakes. Mistakes help shape you as a person. Here's the trick. You can't keep making the same mistakes. Make a mistake and learn from it. That's why you make them. Just don't keep making the same mistakes. Learn from them and become a better person. Trying to figure out which direction, because here I get to the part where I realize I have like 15 minutes left and still have way too much I want to try and get through. And see, part of it is I never know which kids my stories have impact on. I used to think I did. I used to think I had a really good finger on the pulse of who every kid was. And I know a lot about many of you, more than you tell me. I listen in the hallways. I listen when kids talk. And I don't try to mean creepy, but I mean the fact that I pay attention to you, and I see pain in some of your lives. And I used to think I was really good at knowing which kids were suffering and which kids were in pain, but kids surprise me. And I have kids who will later come and talk to me who I had no idea, because they're good at masking some of that pain. And so I realize that for many of you, the talk I give today doesn't carry a lot of weight. It just doesn't impact you, which is absolutely fine. For some of you, you're just polite, and you see the fact that it impacts others. But for you, you don't see it having a big impact on who you are. That's fine. For some of you, you've not hit pain in your life yet. And I hope you don't hit pain for a long time. But there might come a point when you do. And I hope my words sit with you. And I hope they help you when they're needed. And I've realized that for me personally, if I give my talk today and only one of you comes out of today having been impacted by it and becoming a better person for it, for me, that's worthwhile. Because for that one person, then hopefully it helps them. And hopefully it helps guide them. And I think it's worth it to help that one person. For the others of you, I hope it helps guide you a little bit in one way or another. Let's go with... I've taught a long time. And part of the problem with me... There's a lot of problems with me. Part of the problem with me, having taught as long as I have, is that I can connect a lot of you to past students. I look at you and I see kids that you remind me of. I can't have taught over 1,000 kids and not see similarities. I mean, you're not exact identical ones, but I mean the paths you're on. And part of my problem is I wish I could say that it's my advanced classes that are the easiest, because all of you guys have these great lives in front of you because you're smart and you're driven and everything's going to turn out wonderfully for you. But that's not the way it goes. I've had advanced kids drop out of school when they hit high school. I've had advanced kids who were pregnant when they hit high school. I've had advanced kids who make some of my worst choices. And so because of that, I look at you, and for many of you, I can see two paths in front of you. I can see you reminding me of two different kids. A kid that made good choices and a kid that made bad choices. And I don't know which path you're going to go on. I can't know. You don't know. Only the future knows. And part of the issue is, for some of you, those two paths are different sizes. I hope for most of you, of the two paths, one of them is a path of lightness and good choices and happiness, and you becoming the person that you should be and the person that I hope you're going to be. And next to that path is a much smaller path, a much thinner path, where it's a dark path with poor choices. And every kid has a different dark path in front of them. For some of you, it's shoplifting. That was for me. For others of you, it's going to be drinking. For some of you, it's going to be drugs. And for some of you, it's not going to be like hardcore drugs like marijuana. It's going to be prescription drugs, because you're going to start taking Adderall to help you study when you're not supposed to. And you're going to find yourself going down a path that you shouldn't. For others of you, it's going to end up being pregnant in high school, or the fact that you're going to find yourself with attention from the opposite gender, and you're not going to sure how to handle it. I don't know what your dark path is, because each kid has their own. My goal is to help push you towards the light path, the good path, and to push you away from the dark path. But I can't control what path you're on. All I can do is bump you and nudge you. But you ultimately make those choices. And what makes it tough for me, and what's going to make it really tough for me in some of my other classes that I don't have as much with you guys, and I'll end up showing more emotion with them than I will with you, is that I have kids in my classes who I know are on the dark path already. And I see them fully on that path because, once again, I listen, and my 8th graders talk to me, and I know more than I probably should as a teacher about your guys' lives. And I know kids are on these paths, and I see the paths in front of them. And it's hard for me not to be hurt when I see kids on these paths, and to care about a kid and know that I can't pull them off that path. The same as it hurts me with my family members. When I see a family member on a dark path, and it's someone you love, and you can't stop them. I have kids who I care about, who I've spent this year trying to make them a better person, and then after tomorrow, I don't get to impact them anymore. And I don't know which path they're going to be on. So that's why today gets a little rough for me. But for you guys, I tried to stay a bit more upbeat. Sorry if I didn't hit it exactly. But I don't see as many dark paths with you. But that might be because I don't know you as well. And some of you have hidden who you are from me, which is fine. Which brings me to the next thing I want to hit. You get to control who you are. When I was in junior high, I was an anxiety-ridden, shy, quiet nerd of a kid who was scared to talk to people.
Except
Trust
for
me,
talking for it.
I know.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be popular more than anything. And so I spent a lot of my junior high time, even though I was shy, quiet, and nerdy, trying to be popular. And I did the same thing going into my high school years. My freshman year, partly why I gave away the candy, the shoplifting, and stuff like that, because I thought it would get me in with those cool kids. And it was at some point in my sophomore year, I was riding the school bus home, And I remember I was listening to these two girls talking in front of me because they're both popular. And I was listening to their conversation. I realized that they weren't good people. I was listening to them make fun of another kid. And they were just being awful about it. And it hit me that I was doing everything I could to hang out with people that I didn't like, that were not good people. And it made me re-examine myself. And I had what's called an epiphany, which is a life-changing moment. And for me, that was my epiphany. And I realized that I was doing the wrong thing with my life, that I was trying to be someone that I should not be, that I was trying to hang out with people that didn't care who I was. And I stopped being that person. And I realized that I had friends who liked me for who I was, who genuinely cared about me. And so I chose to be happy. That's why I wore the shirt I wore today. Because what you see in front of you when I teach, I am a happy person. But it's by choice that I'm happy. Because that day on the bus, I chose to stop letting pain have control over me as a person. Because I had pain in my life, as I've mentioned with addiction, and I've mentioned with drug abuse and stuff like that. To share with you guys a small thing. This past week, a close family member of mine was put in jail and was arrested. And we've been battling with it all week. But I don't show that to you guys because I don't choose to let that be a thing that impacts me. My family members still committing to the path of poor choices. I love them, but still committing to that path. And so, happiness is a choice. Happiness is a path you choose to take. You choose whether to let the evil and darkness that is in you have control, or you choose to ignore it, and you choose to smile. If you've ever seen someone who is confident and cocky and seems to have control of the world, it's an act. It's a thing that they're putting on. Every confident person you've ever met is pretending. I guarantee it. Because humans are by nature scared beings. And we let our fear hold us back. The reason that I became the confident person that I am today is that I pretended to be confident. I chose to ignore my fear and face it. And the reason I tell you this is that 8th grade, you get to change who you are. You get to become the person you are. People change between 7th and 8th grade. When you enter 8th grade, become the person you want to be. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let worry hold you back. Become the person that you think you should be. If you want to be outgoing and confident, do it. Talk. Be that person. Now, other kids, they're going to make fun of you because kids don't like change. But here's the trick. Why do you care? Why do you let their words have power? Why do you let them be the ones to destroy you? You know who you are. You know who you want to be. Don't let their opinions of you shape you. You pick who shapes your opinion of yourself. You pick who is important to you. Don't let the opinions of people you don't respect shape your view of yourself. As I told you at the beginning, respect is earned. Not every person deserves your respect. You choose who earns your respect. You choose who gets to influence who you are. So as you go into 8th grade, decide who you're going to be. Figure that person out and commit to it. Junior high is about discovering who you are as a person. And a lot of you used my class to figure that out. Whether it was the fact that you got a chance to be the outgoing person, whether you got to be the quiet person, whether you got to try getting in trouble, You use my class for that. And I've realized that. It's one of the things I've picked up on in the years of me teaching, especially in my advanced classes. I have kids who behave differently in my class than all their other classes. Because you know in my class, one, I'm not going to judge you, and you can feel safe in here. And two, you know you're not going to get a detention unless you earn it. And the fact that you know you're going to get a detention as it builds up to it. And so I have kids who are quiet in every class, and in my class, they get to experiment with a different personality. I accept that because it's what I want from you. The fact that you get to figure out who you are. My room is meant to be a safe place. The last thing I want to tell you is if you ever want to talk, my door's open. And I know some of you have pain in your life. If you ever need a chance to share it with somebody, I will never judge you, and I will always listen, and I'm happy to do it. But beyond that, go out and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Completely different talk in first period.